let Andy do his job.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Evening. Well, teachers. Item 1 on the agenda is election of the chair of the Environment Committee. I would like to propose Councillor Haydock, if she agrees.
I'd like to second that.
Any other nominations? All those in favour? That's unanimous. Well,
Can I just say thank you, Lucy, for your year as chair. Good job. I understand completely that you've got some new things going on there.
Yeah, well done. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lucy. Well, you stop speaking to everything, yeah. That's brilliant. Yeah.
Time really down.
Power go your head.
Again, just throw at people if they don't behave.
Needs to help. Needs to my son over here at my third grade. So, item 2 of the agenda, apologies for absence.
So we have an apology from Councillor Ruth Newell, reason number 6. And we need to approve.
Right.
I propose that we approve.
So, right, everybody happy with approving? Yeah. Unanimous. And then item 3 is the election of vice chair. Oh, I'm not sure who was quickest on the draw. I think it was Lisa.
I'd like to propose Councillor Draper.
I'd like to second that.
Okay, is Councillor Draper happy with that idea? In which case, are there any other nominations for vice chair? No. So I think we should have a vote on Councillor Draper as vice chair. It's unanimous. So,
Congratulations. You're no wife.
Congratulations on your demotion.
yes. So do we have any declarations of interest today? Good, okay. So next, we need to agree the minutes of the meeting held on the 13th of April. Does anyone have any comments, changes they want to make to those minutes? Then
Agree.
Yep. Yeah, is everybody happy?
Yeah.
To agree the minutes.
Oh, I'll have it seconded.
We do vote. Okay.
Yeah.
We're all voting. You get those. I think Simon proposed.
And I seconded.
Andy seconded. Yes.
Sorry about that.
Okay, too quick. Have you other people still got their hands up for some reason? Or
We were
is
voting.
You don't know what to do with it.
Oh,
Just leave it there for a bit.
right. I'm sure you wanted to say something for that. Okay, so rolling on then, budgets. Budgets figures, we are receiving the latest figures, which are at Appendix A. I guess we could go page by page. Figures 3 of 21. We'll just shout if you've got anything to say. 4 of 21. 5 of 21. 6 of 21. 7 of 21, 8 of 21, which is the earmark reserves. And that's it, I think. So, no comments on that. I guess we're just receiving the figures, so does that mean we don't? Yeah, we don't have to vote on anything, we just receive and next we have a paper on a report from the Business and Community Engagement Officer about the neighbourhood frameworks, an update on the neighbourhood frameworks.
I'll just give it an intro to that.
Thanks.
So this is the meeting. I'm sure you recall that Dr. Gabrielle and Emma from the practice came to see us quite a while ago to talk about this new initiative that's starting up the neighbourhood health and integrated management teams. We said once the framework had been published, we would publish a little bit of an update about it. It was a meeting, so there's a regular meeting of various different public agencies who are looking at ways to better work together to achieve health-related goals. So it is a health initiative, but they're just looking more at things like community prescribing and things that can be done within the community. And this area of Buckinghamshire, the agreed big focus is frailty. So it's looking at ways that things can be done to tackle frailty, ideally proactively getting in and helping people before frailty becomes an issue so that they can prolong not just their life, but their quality, a good quality of life for longer. Much of it is not necessarily relevant to us as a town council. It is very sort of health and social services. But I've been and are working at and some of our events, etc. So we are, as much as anything, facilitating other people, helping to connect our local community groups with relevant people, just basically just being there to see what we can do to facilitate. So just an update for yourselves that you are aware that this work is going on, and there's no real actions for us at the moment other than to continue the good work that Anna's already doing.
John and then Robin.
Thank you for the report so far. I think there are a couple of things that we could do. I'm keen that we get another couple of benches with the happy chat symbol on. What two at the moment? One by the weir just down the way from here, obviously, and one in Chandos. I'm wondering if there would be value in having at least one in Bourton Park, maybe a couple. Just to spread it around, because I think loneliness is a big issue and one of the key factors in frailty. And it's one small thing we can do to kind of add to the array of ideas and support for people. And secondly, I'm wondering if now's the time to maybe organise another, I don't know what we want to call it, really, community health action day or something, get people together from a range of agencies and the public as well, and just talk about some of the stuff and see what would emerge from a session over, I don't know, a few hours in the morning or something like that, in a fairly open way, so that everyone gets a chance to contribute and so on. Because I think there are ideas out there. There are lots of groups, and we saw evidence of that in the mayor making on Friday. And I think inviting them along to just maybe have their say, offer ideas, maybe in the fusion, new ideas might emerge as well. And I think as a town council, we can do that. You know, that's our job, to actually think about the whole community. Obviously, the Swan practice is doing an awful lot with their, you know, health partners, social care and so on. But we can connect with things that they don't always connect with, and we can invite them along. So I will propose, on the one hand, that we ask the town clerk or the resources manager to return with a suggestion about a couple more happy to chat benches. And obviously we can't make a decision on that tonight because it's not on the agenda, but we can ask for a report. Also propose ask for a report exploring the possibility of having some sort of community well-being, bringing people together in a reasonably inclusive discussion to think about what next that the town council could maybe support or pass on to other people and so on.
Can I correct? I mean, the first one's fairly straightforward. We can bring back a report on the benches. We'd need to look at budget, etc. So we can have a look at that. That's fairly straightforward. The second one, what you seem to be suggesting is basically what this integrated management team is doing. That is pretty much what it's there for.
You know, respond. I mean, how many people are on the team?
That attend it.
Yeah.
It's about 30 or 40 people from various different agencies, all sorts.
Okay. Do we get minutes of that meeting?
They're not circulated routinely, no,
Okay.
but it is limited.
Well, I mean, all right, so I'd like to find out more about what is discussed on that agenda and see whether it does do what you're saying it does, whether there's still scope for something. I'm not talking about a regular meeting, I'm talking about a one-off conference type affair that would bring people together to share some thoughts. That could be upwards of 100 people, maybe.
That's quite an ambitious, okay. I mean, what I would say is the whole point of this is to do exactly what we're talking about, is to get all of those different agencies having quite detailed conversations, and they do meet very regularly. I think they meet something like monthly. It is very much focused towards health and social care, which you would expect. But that facilitating everyone getting together and networking is very much already being done. I think it may become a little bit of a duplication if we were to do something.
Okay, well, could Anna maybe provide us with a copy of the minutes?
I'm also going to publicly know it is no.
Could we explore
It's a bit of
that? Is that
okay.
possible?
I will have I'll have a look into it.
Okay.
But it isn't a public meeting. It is an opportunity for professionals to get together and have good quality conversations.
In which case it makes it very distinct from what I'm suggesting as well then, because that would be an open, accessible, inclusive event, whereas this clearly isn't. It's something that's for professionals only, for example.
Okay, so what you're talking about is a public event.
Yeah, I am.
Like a town meeting, something like that.
Yeah, but we can make folks at the end of town meeting next year all about this. If we wanted to, we could choose to do that.
Yeah.
We don't have to do all the usual stuff. We could just do something different.
May I suggest that perhaps at this stage we take this conversation outside, because we are looking across now, you're getting into the remit of Town Centre and Events Committee rather than the Environment Committee, and we are way past what was this agenda item. We could have a talk about what you
Okay, I'm happy with
you're
that.
thinking about, and then come up with the best way to push that forward.
Okay.
Right. Do we need to agree on?
I'm happy to bring a report back about 2 events.
Right, okay, so we don't need to vote on that.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, no, do.
Okay, great, no, Robin.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Really pleased this meeting's taken place, really pleased to have an update. Thank you for putting it on the agenda. I think there are going to be areas where we have to take more than interest going forward. I think that it signalled that last year that very likely for community hubs, health hubs, and we are well placed in North Buckinghamshire to have a community health hub. It might be worth exploring with George and where he believes they've got with that, because the community health hubs will drop into Buckingham Hospital stroke North End Square, North End Surgery, because unlike other places in North Buckinghamshire, we've actually got facilities, and the NHS won't have to purchase facilities to deliver that. That would be a big thing for Buckingham, and it was signalled last year, and it may suddenly rock up. George sits on numerous bodies. He also sits on the looking after GPs in the whole Buckinghamshire. So he'd be well placed to know the outcomes of that, whether there's any timings around it. Because I think if that was coming in, it would be quite a big thing for Buckingham, because it would mean that treatments would take place which wouldn't normally take place in Buckingham. And people wouldn't need to get in their car and go for certain things. So it's not on the agenda, but I think maybe we could ask to, when appropriate, get an update on when he thinks that might come to Buckingham. He attends both the Haskell, he also attends the soon to be deleted Oxfordshire, Buckinghamshire and Health Board. So he's very well placed and very well versed. But it will be a big thing for Buckingham, and many of our things people won't be going, and it fits in very well with this, because it's about treating people where they are rather than taking them somewhere else and making their life more manageable. So it will fit in very well with that. I'd just like to ask for whichever a conversation could be took up at appropriate time.
Sorry, what was the full name of the person that you're suggesting?
George Gaffron. George Gaffron. He will know because he attends all the appropriate meetings on the time as it. And also, we may well wish to, on the same token of this, when the Swan practice are ready to open their building and do what they do after all their work in it, not councillors, all the Swan practice work getting that building done. It might be worth knowing when he wants to share that information, because they were hoping it was going to be at one time. It may, a building like once you think you actually got it, the actual bits finishing off take longer than the building, don't they? So that's going to be something major for Buckingham. And I know John's point about communicating how, I think there's two very, very different but linked together facets around help. At that point, there will need to be a proper conversation with the professionals at this meeting and other professionals to explain to people how it's going to work going forward, because it's a good news story for Buckingham. And if they're going to do anything in Winslow, they've got to buy them a building, buy some land and actually build it. So we are well ahead of the game. So I don't know whether through the clerk, on the same note, it's not again, we can just explore that.
Is this something to potentially put on a future again?
Well, this is,
And Dr. Garrow and the surgery are well represented at this meeting. I'll check with that and see if that.
yeah, I think it may not be when it comes to us, but I think everybody around the council chamber should know about it and be informed.
Any comments on something?
And for going to all these meetings and coming back and report. Yeah, it's very positive. Piece of work going on.
Okay, great. So next we have compliments and complaints. Which is page 11 of 21.
So, what's you needed to. It's just a note,
Okay, so complaints and compliments, or compliments and complaints, whichever. Robin and then Roger.
Those who know.
Okay. Is John going to second that?
I haven't seconded it, but I'm just curious whether the last.
Different than I think Roger is.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I just wanted to compliment British team on their rapid action in most of these complaints.
Great. Absolutely.
Okay, right. Thanks, Roger. Sorry, John. Now you can second it if you like.
I'll second it, but it's the last time we said the ongoing issue of the Chandos Park gets been left open for 30 minutes. What's the ongoing issue? Do we know about that? Have I missed this point somewhere?
We've had an issue with some of the keyhole, the gates being left open.
So I didn't hear that.
I said there's been a few issues in the past with the gates being left open, and that's just the resident. You want to expand on that at all, Lee?
Okay, that's fine.
This is the gates by the tennis courts.
Yeah.
Halfway.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes. You see you can accept it.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we have memorial safety testing at Brunswick Road Cemetery, which is page 21. Did anybody want to say anything before we?
Year's inspections and what we found, and then we've got the ongoing process to try and find owners. And we'll look at getting the old ones fixed. Probably in about a year's time. Normally we do it a year to try and find the owners of the graves. But yeah, it's explained in the report.
Thank you. So, Robin first and then John.
I'd just like to compliment you on refreshing the way that you're approaching this. Have some early experience of property tests, when the esteemed district council did it before we were the bearer authority. This isn't the process they followed. And it was horrendous for the people, upsetting for the people, and we ended up with a very large public meeting with people being very cross about it, and to which people are still proportioned blame, although we were not the bearer authority at the time. It still was with the district council, as though we actually owned the land and actually took over the bearer authority side of it. But so this is how it should be done, and I compliment you on the sympathetic and sensible way that you're approaching this. It's much better than going up there and finding that your loved ones' gravestone's gone over with not even knowing about it, and then no one actually apologising to you. So this is really good and a much better way of doing it. No one wants to do it, but it's a legal requirement. So.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, looking at the category 1, which I presume are ones that are in serious trouble, as it were. Obviously, there are some there that are well over 100 years old and everything else, but there are some that aren't that old. 2005, 2002, 97, and so on. And I'm wondering, do we keep records of the, I guess, stonemason, whoever it would have been, or firm of undertakers who commissioned that job and give them feedback saying, you didn't do a very good job because it's actually fallen over badly in less than a quarter of a century. Do we ever, follow that up when this is emerging?
So we do keep records, but more recently, some of the older ones that we don't have records on there. But legally, it's down to the deed holder of the grave, so that they're the first people to approach. So that's why we go in that manner. We do advise them where appropriate what they could do. There's no guarantees on the work, but we do advise go back to the stonemason in the first instance, depending on the age and depending what it is.
Yeah, obviously about 100 years ago they probably not around anymore, but 25 years ago they might still be in business.
Lisa.
I'd just like to minute our thanks to the Green Spaces team for your continued hard work.
Okay,
I'd like to echo that. And just wondered, what year did we actually take over Brackley Road Cemetery from AVDC?
Correct.
Okay. So all but one of those gravestones would have been erected prior to our taking over, so we're unlikely to have all those records anyway. Yeah.
They fix stones as well as improve over the years, even since 2005.
Okay.
Looking forward, there is some value in understanding these things, because we have a new cemetery which we can look at sympathetic policies for the long term. If we've got evidence that certain types of things aren't got any longevity and they'll only cause upset to the family in future years, if there's anything significant when we set out the criteria of what you can put and can't put in the cemetery, that sort of information is very valuable, because we know there's problems prior to us taking it over with the types of I think they're glued, that's the problem, and then and the way they're steered national issue with those type of tombstones. So I think we should find out, because it could be that there is a much better sort that we could prefer to have in there if we wish, and we can investigate that in the new cemetery. We can't redo it in the old cemetery, but in the new cemetery you can start afresh, can't you?
Are we allowed to put in a specification that says it has to be solid, not glued, or whatever it is?
But they have to meet certain standards, so the NAM and Brown standards, and the national standards have improved now. The main thing they do now is put a ground anchor in the ground, so there's a metal rod that goes all the way through,
Right.
which we've noticed helps a lot.
Which these ones that,
Some of the old ones on got.
Interesting.
good, so I think we have received the report on that, thank you. And next item is Christmas tree ball repair, which is a report from the Deputy Town Clerk on page 15.
This chair is the whole, the Christmas tree.
Check notice tonight, look at the bus.
It's unfortunately it's quite an expensive piece of work because it's quite a big bit of tree. It's damaged, it's crumbling, the concrete is crumbling away. We've had a lot of conversations with our contractor, but basically, as the report says, it needs to be widened and it needs to be reinforced.
Anya, I think, and then Lucy.
Okay, so firstly, I would like to thank the Deputy Town Clerk for preparing the report and getting the quote. It is quite a lot of money, but on the other hand, we obviously need to do it. So I propose that we agree to go ahead with the repairs.
I second that proposal.
Right, and Lucy has seconded it. Robin has a comment.
Only just that I know that this will be considered. To make sure that the spec of it does include the electric, which goes down into the box, because that we make sure that that is included. And when put in, it's putting in, I call it like a junction box. It is in the quote. I didn't see it.
Yeah, it says a ground socket.
Well, that means ground socket. I mean, the piping, when you put electric in, the modern thing is to put it in so you can actually feed it through 35 years time and change the electrics without digging it all up. You know, I don't know if it's in Italy, but you know what I mean, the cabling.
There's a separate, put a manhole next to it, that's got the electric, so there's one for the tree.
So that's outside of the hole that we're talking about here, that's like next to it.
So we're not going to be doing any of that cabling. Well, yeah, okay, that's fine. It's just I thought if we were doing a major bit of cabling, let's get that done so we can thread cable through it again and again. And in 30 years time, somebody else will have the responsibility of finding out that we did it right.
Okay, great. If we don't have any more comments, I think we do need a vote on this one, don't we? To agree on the proposal and the seconder. Unanimous. I believe. Moving on, this is potentially a slightly bigger item. So the Environment Agency proposals for riverbank work on Bourton Park, which starts on page 16. Again, we're going to ask to note the report here, but also to agree a joint, to give delegated authority and to agree a joint press release. So we've got 3 different recommendations on this item. Lucy and Robin.
Yeah, I think it's really good that the Environment Agency have actually in process to do some work, and also the Internal Drainage Board, Bucks Council, because it's a lovely stretch of river, and it's a lovely bit of Buckingham, and as with any watercourses, it needs maintenance. And I think that it's so good that, you know, the plan is for it to go over a long period of time. It's not going to be a huge severe kind of get up through the river or anything. They're going to do it with kind of the wildlife in mind, and also to improve the flow of the river, which, as we know, is very important. Yeah, I think it's great, and I would propose that we agree all of the recommendations.
Second.
Okay, so that's approved and second for all of them, but then Robin.
I'm happy to watch a second. I'd just like to say on the report, I'm really pleased that we're now able to look at the pond, because it's been ongoing for a very, very long time. Originally, when we looked at them, we were told by the Environment Agency what we wanted to do was not suitable. We even put money in the budget 10 years ago to do it, and we couldn't progress it, and the money was lost in the budget to do it, and it was nowhere near what it will cost now. Will we get it's not going to be the first chunk of this work, is it? But it is one of the most important parts of it, in the sense that the ecology of those ponds are key. Well, thankfully for getting us to this stage, because it has been 10 dozen years on the boil to get this done, and it looks like we're finally going to do it. But through you, Chair, at what level is the press release going to enact? Because I noticed this is like a long lead-in timing thing. So we put everything in here, we think everything's going to happen overnight, which it isn't. And there's also a note in there saying about the funding not clear. So there may be something that we get a figure back at some point where we might have to think about raising money or protecting, because there's a note in it, I know it's starting unless I read it wrong, about.
I'm missing the bit about the funding.
At the moment, we haven't been asked for it.
No, we're not being asked for it because the Environment Agency has
Yeah,
given the funding, is
Yeah.
the way I'm reading it.
So I'll read through being next to silence, that they're going to pay for all this work.
Well, it sounds like they have got the budget to pay for all the work.
Yeah, that's, you know, I just always think that, don't say anything, but we've looked at this stuff and those ponds are in our curtilage, just be aware. Yes, but how we do the press release, clearly you have to do it through you, Chair, with the Environment Agency one we've seen.
Well, and when would be an appropriate stage of the project, I guess, is it when it starts and when it's finished its
I
first
think we were
phase?
thinking, Chair, that we would need to explain to people as the project starts what's going on,
Yes.
so that people understand what's been done and why, yeah.
Yeah.
Fran.
I'd like to thank Nina for this excellent report, liaison, and between her and presumably Lee as well, with the Environment Agency and the other agencies involved. As Councillor Stutchby says, it's been a long time coming, and I really welcome the work being done.
I was just noting that we have heard about this project from the Environment Agency a couple of times in other fora. And I'm really pleased to see that it's actually progressed to a stage where there's money behind it and they're going to do it. So that's just a comment on it.
Yeah, it was mentioned in the last flood action for Buckingham meeting as well. The Environment Agency were represented there and they mentioned that this was going ahead. So yeah, I think we've got collaborating evidence that they are actually doing it.
For you, Chair.
I think Tony had his hand up first.
I was just going to say, I'm really pleased with 5.1, where it talks about where it's going to be fully desilted, and this will allow town council to continue exploring future plans for the area, including the possibility of creating an educational space with decking, pond decking, etc., etc. So I think it is a place to stop and to appreciate what is around us. So just note that point as well.
Yeah, it's really silty at the moment.
Yes, it really is. As you know, the dog. Yeah.
It is very muddy.
Yes, I'm aware it was referred to at other meetings, but this is town council land and property. And I would be very unfortunate if it wasn't the town council who spoke about this, because as I said, it's been a long time officers, Lee and Nina and everyone else working on it. I think that makes sure that we don't get a sort of this is going to happen before we actually talk about it. So I think it would be quite important.
So we need an early conversation with the Environment Agency about this joint press release.
Yes.
Okay. Fran.
I suggest we move to the vote on it.
Okay, so we're voting on all three of the recommendations. We're noting the report, we're giving delegated authority, and we're agreeing to issue a joint press release. Okay, everyone in favour? It's unanimous. Now we move on to the mini tractor. I looked down and I don't know who was first. Was it Robin? Lucy first, we think.
Sorry, it's because I'm not chairing, it was very sort of proposing thing. I would like to propose that we accept the recommendation for our wonderful estates manager's new tractor, especially given the fact that we are going to be taking on a lot more green spaces, hopefully with the Lansdowne Fields and the allotments and the new cemetery. I think it is a great investment. The fact that it's not just a single use tool, there are many uses, there are many attachments put on it. Lee and I spoke when I very first joined the council about the fact that it's difficult to have wildflower meadows, they've got nothing to collect grass cuttings with. And I just think it's great, and he's obviously looked at different costs, so I think we should let Lee have his toy.
I feel I should slightly explain that before we get too excited that a 7,700 don't think it's a big tractor. I'll explain what it is.
It's a pedestrian piece of kit, so it's like a roadway, so it's quite a big chunky one, and you can swap out the bit machine on the front. So flower mowers for doing rough cut stuff, power brush will help us keep the cemetery sort of paths clear and get the roadways and stuff, but there's huge array of other things that we can get for it if we need in the future as well.
Brilliant, great. Robin.
I was quite worried about a two-wheel tractor and that was going to actually balance.
It's not a bicycle.
It was going to actually fall over. I thought perhaps it was two-wheel drive, but Lee has answered my question. I was just concerned. I've driven tractors quite a lot in my life. I've never driven a two-wheel tractor. And that would be a push bike, wouldn't it? Instead, or motorbike. So it's really a very extensive man road racer. So, but the point made is the main point that we'll have to revisit equipment in the future, even when more land comes our way. And this is going to be ongoing. This won't be the start days of equipment, because there'll be costs in not doing it. So I'd quite like to see a tractor and play with it.
Are you seconding Lucy then?
I'm seconding Lucy. Yeah. I want to play with the tractor.
I said, hands have gone down again. I think, John, did you still?
Well, I was going to raise the same point about two wheels, I couldn't quite agree with that.
It's actually one of the mobility scooters.
Yeah, I think one there's ones that they have where people stand on and they go along with just two wheels, I really like something.
Segway.
Yeah, I thought it might be a second.
I was worried about that.
Yeah, but now I understand. We get to name it.
No.
Check my little tractors then.
Don't put it out to
Maybe.
Do any of the vehicles have names? Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
I suggest we move to the vote.
Yeah.
Okay, right, we're voting in favour of seeing a two-wheel tractor. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
everybody, thank you. Item 13, to note there were no updates on the climate emergency action plan, although one day hopefully we will. So now we move to item 14, which is the action report at Appendix C. Well, sorry, Roger.
Sorry, I just noticed on the seeking strategy that was mentioned in the third one down. I've had an email from Mary Simons at the Buckingham Society about space for a bench out here next to the existing one. And she was just asking whether or not the town council want that space reserved for a bench. It's still, as you look at the benches for their sign.
I'll contact Mary about that because we've had a previous resolution on the bench.
Yeah,
Leave that with me and I'll have a discussion with Mary. Anyway, you know.
Mary mentioned it to me as well. She thought that had previously been in the action log and it wasn't anymore. So
there was an action to contact her about it, and we,
right.
but that wasn't, I said contact her, contact the Buckingham Society, that at the fact that Anthony Ralph was going to do it when he was a councillor, so he's been hanging around a little while.
Yes,
But
me too.
I think, I mean, one of the things is we haven't pushed forward and finalised the seating strategy. So when we start talking about putting new benches in, we come around to, wouldn't it be better to finalise the seating strategy before we?
Right. Would the happy to chat benches be part of the seating strategy, or is that a separate?
I mean, you raise a good point, yes, probably, but.
Okay, for your judgment, and then sheets.
I understood that. John wasn't necessarily thinking about new benches, just converting some that we already had to have to chat bench rather than a new bench
Okay.
again, so.
Okay. Lucy?
Just with that particular item, because again, that the seating strategy item's been hanging around for a while, I believe the committee agreed that councillors would survey, because obviously first student did that great bit of work for us for the town centre, and I believe councillors were going to continue that to the wider areas to kind of make a note of what we have already and consider kind of how best to improve the availability of what was there. That's what I believe is holding things up, is the fact that none of us have actually been done that.
Right, okay.
So I don't know whether we as councillors want to say either we don't have enough time to do that, or whether we want to actually put a plan in place, because it has been in there since October 2024. Just because otherwise it's going to stagnate there forever. Yeah.
I think it's John and then Robin.
I think we're talking about strategy rather than a plan of exactly where the seating should go. I think obviously the first version of the strategy would include a plan of proposals, including one out here, but also some process whereby councillors over the course of time we say we need to have a seat here too. I think to wait for all of that information to come back is pushing things further and further away when it doesn't need to be.
Okay. So Claire had a comment before.
The plan originally was that councillors wanted, instead of just doing things ad hoc, to have a proper seating strategy, and then some work was done to look at the town centre. So we got as far as the town centre bit, and then the plan was to push out further into the town, and that's the point at which it stagnated. The members were quite clear, they didn't want to just put a thing like on here and there. It would be much better to have a proper coherent strategy and work towards that evidence base.
I would say tell us what you want us to do, and I'm walking around the town all the time. I'm happy to point out.
So here, I think Lucy wanted to point on this one.
Just to come back, that was exactly what we said we were going to do as a committee, is that we as councillors were going to organise ourselves and go out and kind of each council would cover a section of Buckingham and kind of make notes about where benches were, but it never got any further than us saying, yeah, we're going to organise ourselves and apparently without town council. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, okay, Brian, if that's on the same point.
It is on the same point, so as regards this out here, it's probably my fault in the first instance, because when Lucy and I did all the weeding, the initial weeding of that area, which belongs to Buckinghamshire Council, it's not ours. We got fed up with what it looked like, and then the Buckingham Society decided that they were going to carry on and do some more planting out there and maintain it. I might have said at some point, or I did say, wouldn't it be nice to have another bench here? It would be quite good, because there's that one bench down the other end. To have a second bench there might be quite nice. However, it is Buckinghamshire Council's land. We can't make a decision on putting a bench in there. If the Buckingham Society wished to put a bench there, then they would need to approach Buckinghamshire Council about it and get their permission to do so, I think. On the thing about the seating strategy, so it was Councillor Harvey's motion in the first instance. I arranged with Fursdown for them to sort out and do the video, which is a brilliant piece of work. Really, really good. But yeah, as councillor Draper and others have said, it's stalled after that when we decided that we wouldn't ask them to go town-wide because of their differences and different abilities. But it was down to us to go and maybe take a map round and mark where benches are and identify spaces for other ones. So I think that is where we got stuck on, that bit of work didn't actually then proceed.
Some volunteers, I'm happy to help with that, John's happy to help with that, and there may be others that have got time to go around and map things out.
Yeah. There are maps in the tourist information which are free, I believe.
Depends where we want to start.
Yeah, sorry, can we go to Robin first? Because I've been waiting patiently.
It is on the same point, and I think that there was areas that we looked at Railway Walk, and then Lee quite rightly pointed out, well, no point in putting any benches in along Railway Walk till the project's finished. So, and the grading is done, and there have been various people offered to paint the benches and various things. So, I think just looking at the spacing of the benches and where we put them around the town and the grading. Because the last thing they're quite nice to get up over and have to sit down in it. And it encourages people to come out. So that's really important. But the other thing is we did recover 2 benches from the town hall at the start of all these conversations. And I presume that they're sat somewhere. They were the 2 old benches that sat outside the town hall. We corresponded with them and they were very kind after I wrote to them to say that we could pick them up. I presume they were picked up. I presume they're somewhere now. And they are.
Yes.
But we have got like those as a resource you didn't purchase. So, you know, we haven't got to buy one and all they can be used to replace one which is damaged. But I do think it's subjective where you have a bench, isn't it? You really need we used to have access to all, which was quite a good balance to all this. So if you walk very quickly, you're probably not a good go to where the bench needs to be. You know what I mean? It might be worth when we've done it, or whenever the people who volunteer to do it is to run it past some group like, well, easily collection of people is next door. Every fortnight there's the old carers, the young, not young carers, the elderly carers. Thank you. I was trying to get the right word. I didn't realise that I was failing. So, but they might be a good organisation to go and ask them what they think, because amongst those people is going to be people who will benefit. And they're only next door, and it's twice a week. And
My mum goes to a site one as well.
yes, she does, but best leaving mum out of it if we can.
So, John.
I'll happily take away an action to sit down with Nina one day and just work out how to approach the list, whereby we can get this accelerated. Okay?
Okay.
If people want me to.
Okay, and I'm happy to volunteer going around and taking notes on things if that's helpful.
Well, I think as we're going to carving up the town and thinking about places to look for and just some guidelines for councils who want to take part, I'll work on that with Nina and then we'll come back.
I'm not sure Nina's had any input into this. So.
We don't think Nina's responsible.
Oh, not Nina, okay. Well, who would be the best person then?
Is Lucy suggesting like?
No, I was just the whole point about councillors taking it away was because at the time the office was quite stretched. So there hasn't been office involvement with it so far. It was kind of
I'll do it.
I'm just giving context.
Okay, John, how about you and I talk about it, and anybody else wants to get involved with that? Giving reason.
I'll second that.
Okay, so
And I'll just say that the example that he's got for the cemetery is a good way to divide the town up. And then if we pick a week, not a day, where people who are volunteers have got the week to do it in their little area that we've got. So it's area A, B, C, D. that would be a good way. And then before that, we've got to decide the boundary, where do we go up to with it? And then that's just a simple format. But you use Lee's example with the cemetery. Is that the Mac?
Okay, thank you. I just want to make a point to you that we don't want you all to be happy to clap benches because they're grumpy introverts like you. You don't actually have to be doing anything, so you have to have a balance.
Fair point.
I have no trouble chatting on any bench, so,
Or chatting to a bench.
Chatting to a bench, no, you're absolutely right, Billy. Or chatting period, so, I don't need a sticker to be able to talk, so,
Right, okay.
I'd be fine.
Understood. Well, Annie,
Can I propose that we move on from this item?
I think that's a good idea. So, we've got an action. I don't think we need to vote on it particularly because it's just having a conversation. So,
I also have a comment on another item.
right, on the action log.
Yeah, item 8. I believe today we have actually dealt with that, haven't we? So it can probably be taken off the list, just a minor point.
Sorry, Mister.
Yeah. Is there a reason that if the numbers sort of go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8? Is it because we've taken it
Because I
off
think
6 and 7?
noticed that
Problems of the starters have been taken off the list. Robin.
I know, looking at this anyway, I should be looking at it when it goes forward. It might be nice that if we are in a position to give them an update in the autumn on the railway walk project, because they're going to spend a lot of time down there, can't influence the project, but it'd be nice if we were in a position to update them about what's going to be done and whatever, because you know they're volunteering in that area, and if you walk down there at any one time of the year, it all changes, doesn't it? So I just think it'd be nice if they had an update. There's nothing we mentioned earlier, and I just looked, and I think the last update I saw on it was in May.
Well, the last Environment Committee meeting was when we had a report that Lee shared with us that came from the County Council at that point. I don't know whether they promised another report anytime soon.
No, I could pass it on to through the ECWP, so that circulates to all the volunteer groups.
Oh, that's answered my question, thank you, Lee. Oh, okay, just want to make it inclusive for conversation.
I had a comment or maybe a question on number 4, the no idling zones. I know it says members have been liaising with the MP on a multi-agent strategy. I'm not sure whether that's still happening because that's gone very quiet. And last time I spoke to Mothers Can, who were the ones that were pushing that forward, they were talking to the MP about other things and they weren't actually pursuing that. So I'm not sure that's ongoing. It's not an action for us anyway, but I'm not sure. I don't think we're going to still do a survey, are we, of ascertaining this? You know, we didn't manage to get hold of any monitors to actually do any measurements, so I'm not sure what the action is there, I suppose is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's another one that has been hanging around a while. I know that members did go and visit one of the schools recently.
Yes.
I didn't get anything back from that.
Yeah, Fran and I, so yeah, Fran and I did visit
With Anna.
Buckingham Primary School.
Yeah.
And we talked to them. A lot of it was about appeasing the neighbours rather than, certainly air pollution wasn't something that really came up at all. It was about upsetting their neighbours and having people parking illegally.
Can I show you? Do you want me to show everything completed then? Otherwise,
well, I guess sort of we did go there. Fran.
So it was an ongoing thing, and it was about we a couple of years ago we did go and visit Bourton Meadow School.
Yeah.
And we did some a little bit of a survey of how many cars were parked badly or potentially illegally, and how many vehicles were parked and idling. We've probably gone slightly past, apart from people who are parking and leaving their engines running to keep their aircon on, we're past the real stage of people idling in order to keep warm in the car. There are a lot of issues there. I did see that Councillor Osbergen had put out a video a little while ago regarding the parking enforcement, which I think will help things around the schools if they get this vehicle that is ANPR equipped to if people are parked blocking driveways or whatever else. It's a difficult one. I think we probably need to leave it on the action list, and I think we need to properly organise ourselves to revisit that again in the autumn.
Okay, so we change that action then, I guess, because we're probably not going to be doing a survey, are we? Or are we? Okay.
It is still relevant.
I guess we can do a survey of how many cars are parked and they're idling. We won't know what pollution that's causing, but we could do that. Well, I suspect it's one of those experiments that once you start measuring and wandering around with a clipboard, everybody switches their engine.
We didn't have a clipboard.
We have clickers in our pockets and no high vis.
Okay, sounds like we want to continue with that then. Probably.
On the same point, I mean, it's a motion from Councillor Gately. We haven't got I presume this is close to the wording of what the motion said. So I'm quite keen that we explore it more. One of the things is really the health and the environment and really a Buckinghamshire Council responsibility, Clean Air Act, stroke, whatever. So I think when it comes back to be rediscussed at some point, we need just a bit of information around what have they done about measuring. Is there any figures about clean air in that area? Is there anything like that? So we can approach it because they have a responsibility to monitor pollution. They also have a responsibility to, as been alluded to, monitor parking. So all the responsibilities for this fall within Buckinghamshire Council's remit. But what we can do is constructively point them to where their responsibilities are with our findings, because we can't go around telling people what to do. We've got the powers to do it, and we could put councils at all sorts of problems where people will inadvertently believe the town council's got those powers it hasn't, and they all inadvertently believe that the council are doing something against them, which they're not. But I think I'd like to see the original word in the motion and see whether there's any sort of powers that stuff that Buckingham Council are responsible in that. See if there's any scope in that to discuss at that point whether we take some action with them.
I believe it's been the wording of the motion is I propose that Buckingham Town Council members carry out a survey to ascertain the scale of the problem and how to proceed thereafter.
Okay.
I have no reason to believe that's not the wording.
Can I suggest we change in the column deadline and we change that to third quarter of the year or something, because realistically there's no point in surveying until November, December time, because as Fran says, people won't be idling in between, and then we can, in the meantime, we look at the weather.
Yeah.
Sensible.
Next week.
Heat wave next week.
Great, thank you. Anything else on the action log? If not, know of any news releases?
About the Environment Agency, you don't have the Environment Agency regarding the bonds.
Okay.
Filling up the plans.
So the one we discussed already. And I don't have any announcements. Actually, maybe I do. Celebrate Buckingham is coming up. I know that's an event and it's all covered under a different committee, but it has got a bit of a nature theme to it, a bit of an environment theme. So we're going to be doing on the PV store, we've got this thing where Michael Hunt's given us some pictures of trees, and then people are going to go around the different stalls to and they'll have a little word letter on it, on make up a word, so we're hoping that.
Absolutely.
Please,
Really good idea.
highlighted,
Yeah, more.
not a tree.
I think that's the temporary name of it.
Right, so that's my only announcement. And then we have the next meeting on Monday, 27th of July.
Thank you very much, Chair.
You think, come on.